Welcome back to another episode of the Deep Six Wrestling Podcast. It is Friday, August 5th, and it is Ryan. I am here with my weekly now NXT UK review. Later today, we will also have our weekly Impact Power Hour with myself and Angelo, and also sometime this weekend, we will also have Rob's SmackDown review, and Pat's updates on the G1 for New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, busy weekend here with the Deep Six crew. So we're just going to get right on into this. But before we do, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of the different platforms that we are on. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Deep Six Wrestling. It is Deep Six Wrestling, wrestling without the G. And also follow us on and subscribe to us on YouTube. If you don't want to listen to the podcast on a different platform, you can also listen to it on YouTube. And we also put our punishments and some reviews and other bonus videos on there occasionally when we have them. That is the Deep Six Wrestling Podcast YouTube. So make sure to follow that as well. So NXT UK, show kicks off with them talking about or them being the commentary team, talking about the main event being Meiko Satomura defending her title against Sarray. Matt says they've been building up for a few weeks. They had their press conference last week to hype up this match. After this, Ilja Dragunov comes in to the ring. He is sporting crutches and a walking boot, and he cuts a promo explaining that early on in his match against Wolfgang that was aired last week, he messed up his ankle pretty badly. They show a replay of it, and then a slowed down replay zooming in on the ankle, and you can see it twists and bends in a really awful way. Dragunov points out that NXT UK has had a history of all of their champions being fighting champions, and because he cannot be a fighting champion and medical will not clear him, he has decided to vacate the championship tonight. He says that he will come back better and stronger than he is today when he gets back, and he will be fighting as strong as possible to get his title back. The crowd does a nice undefeated chant for him. He is clearly a little emotional about this. After this, we get a little video package of Chase University's field trip of England, going and seeing the sights and sounds. And then Thea just disappears from it as they get to the arena. Andre Chase and Bodhi Hayward see someone in front of the building, and it is Shaw Samuels, who is trying to sleep outside because he has now lost his home as well, and none of his family will help him, so he is down very bad. He's lost all his money, his home, his family, his friends, everything. But he says that he still has his wrestling tights, he still has his gear, and he's tired of the Americans coming over here and thinking that the people in NXT UK need help and taking spots away from them, and that he challenges Bodhi Hayward to a match later tonight. Sid Scala and Johnny Saint are talking backstage, and they announce that there will be an 8-person tournament for the NXT UK Championship, and it will be announced the competitors and matchups later tonight. The first match of the night is Oliver Carter versus Rohan Raja with D Familia at ringside. Again, hopefully I'm pronouncing these names properly, as not Italian, German, all these different European languages are not my first language, or any language. I don't speak them, so I'm trying the best I can. So if you are listening to this and if you notice I'm pronouncing a name wrong, please let me know in the comments and tell me how to pronounce it so I can do a better job pronouncing them, because I don't want to offend anybody. I definitely don't want to be pronouncing things wrong, but I think it is D Familia, or D Familia. The beginning of this match starts off with Oliver Carter and Rohan Raja trading stretches and trading moves to start off the match. Neither of them can get control here. Commentary talks about how Oliver Carter has beaten one part of D Familia, and he is looking to go 2 for 2 against them now. And as he continues this match, D Familia is at ringside, not doing too much, just trying to hype up Rohan Raja. Tioman, I guess, is the leader of the group. Was the first member that Oliver Carter beat. He is trying his best to get under Oliver Carter's skin, but it's not working. The crowd is really behind Oliver Carter throughout this match. A really cool move here. Oliver Carter hits a springboard moonsault. I think it was one of the better moonsaults. It was very, very well done. It looked almost flawless. Rohan then throws Oliver Carter out of the ring, but as he is being thrown out, Carter turns the move into a diving crossbody to take out the rest of D Familia. And then Oliver Carter comes back into the ring, hits his finisher, and gets the win. I don't know. They didn't say what his finisher is. It looks very similar to Ilja Dragunov's torpedo, where he just throws his body into the corner where the person is and pins them. Do have to say this was a little bit sloppy, the ending here, because the angle that they used definitely made it seem like Rohan Raja's hand and arm were like right underneath, or like just barely away from the ropes. You couldn't really tell, but did look like he was very close to touching the ropes or being underneath, which should have meant that the pin was broken up. Ref didn't see it though. Gives the win to Oliver Carter. D Familia attacks him and lays him out with what's his name? The third member of the group, which is Dempsey. I don't remember his first name here. Charlie Dempsey. Hits a one-legged Boston Crab on him, and D Familia acts like they won the match and heads off. Backstage, we have Thea talking about the different colleges around the world and in the UK, but that none of them can stand up to Chase U. Eliza Alexander shows up saying that she is tired of the Americans coming over and taking spots from the NXT UK roster, and she doesn't think that Thea should have a claim to anything here. and that she doesn't care about the stupid Chase U. Thea walks off because she does not want to hear anybody talk bad about Chase U. Teoman then cuts a promo about how Di Familia might have lost the match, but winning matches isn't everything, and this was a big win for the rest of the group. Bodhi Hayward with Chase U at ringside versus Sha Samuels. Sha Samuels is basically a more down bad version of Sad Corbin. I originally thought this was just going to be a gambling gimmick, but apparently nope, they've just decided, hey, this is going to be Sad Corbin but in the UK, and we're going to go much worse here. He's got his stained white shirt, just like Corbin did when he was Sad Corbin, but he's panhandling, going to ringside. He's got his hat, asking the crowd for money. He has all his belongings tied up on a stick behind him. Apparently in this match, one of the issues is that he smells really bad and has grease and grime all over him because he can't afford a shower, since he doesn't have a home anymore. But I've got to think that since he goes to the Performance Center, you'd think the Performance Center would have showers, but apparently it doesn't. So that's something. Bodhi Hayward does not want to wrestle because he goes to lock up with Sha Samuels, and he doesn't like the smell. He doesn't like touching how greasy he is. But they eventually do have a match. This is the first time I've seen Bodhi Hayward in any capacity. Commentary was hyping him up to be this former D1 star in college football in the U.S., and that he chose professional wrestling over the professional football because he was better at it than football, but that he had professional aspirations for football. He just decided that it would be better for him to continue his studies with Chase U and the WWE. He's all right. He's nothing too special, in my opinion. Again, this was a weird match. Bodhi is just dominating Sha Samuels throughout this match, while Andre Chase is yelling at Bodhi to do different moves and what to do and how to take control of the match better. And Thea just at ringside with one of the cheerleader speaking trumpets, yelling different chants and yelling at Sha Samuels when he gets on the outside to try to recover and try to distract him. Eventually, Bodhi would start controlling and dominating Sha towards the end of this match, and Andre Chase starts yelling at him to finish the match, and each time Bodhi just says, one more move, and this would be the downfall of him because Sha would get out of the corner, and he would hit some sort of it looked like a Luthez press, and that was it, basically. That he didn't punch him or anything like that. He just kind of jumped on top of him. And that was the win. Sha Samuels has won. Commentary says that maybe this is the beginning of rebound for him, that things might be going his way now. Crowd seems not too happy about this. But he's happy. He's celebrating. And yeah, hopefully there's something that comes out of this. Otherwise, I don't know what the point of Sha Samuels is. Hopefully Sha Samuels' gimmick gets better because we don't need another Sad Corbin. After this, Oliver Carter is coming out of the medical area, and he says that his neck is in really bad shape, and that he might need to miss a few weeks to take some time to recover. But Sid Scala comes over and says, hey, you are in the NXT UK Championship tournament, and your match is next week, so get ready. I don't know what the point of this is. If your staff is coming out and, telling you, hey, I cannot wrestle, my neck is destroyed, I don't know what the point of them being like, hey, you've got a title opportunity, so you screw your injury, you got to get out there. Oliver Carter says that he's not going to let this chance pass him by. He's been a champion before, and he knows how much and how rare these opportunities are. And how much they mean to him and any wrestler, so that he's going to continue even if his neck's hurting. This is when we end up getting the listing of all the competitors and the matchups. So next week is the first week of the tournament. It'll be Trent Seven versus Wolfgang, and Oliver Carter facing off against Charlie Dempsey, the last member of Die Familia. The following week, we'll have Mark Andrews versus a returning Joe Coffey, and Kenny Williams versus Tyler Bate. After this is our scheduled NXT Women's Championship match between Meiko Satomura and Sarray, but out comes Blair Davenport, who says that this match is not going to take place because backstage she took both Sarray and Meiko out, so they cannot compete tonight. And because she has done this, she believes that she deserves to be the new number one contender for the title, since the current number one contender can't compete. She also says that Meiko knows that she can't beat Blair. She knows that if Blair didn't get injured during their last match, she would have been the champ already. And now she's just ducking her and acting like everybody doesn't know who she is anymore. And Sid Scala comes out. He says, hey, you need to leave the ring. We'll figure something out. This leads Amale to come out and say that Blair shouldn't get a title chance because this is not the way to do it. You shouldn't be taking people out. Instead, the number one contender should be somebody who fights for their position and doesn't take it out on other people when they're losing. Even though Amale just lost to Blair last week clean. After this, Eliza Alexander comes out and says that Blair's right. You should be, you're not going to get title chances the normal way. If people are going to come over to the UK and take their chances, then you need to get your chances any way you can. But Blair shouldn't be able to go from the back of the line to ahead of Eliza, because Eliza should be the number one contender. I haven't seen Eliza wrestle. I looked her up. I was like, hey, how's she been doing? Is she in the title picture? No, she hasn't had a singles match since, or she hasn't won a singles match since April. I don't know. To me that would sound like you shouldn't have that title shot. Instead, you should try to get your wins up. You should try to beat some people that are in the title picture or ahead of you on the roster. Blair says that she's beaten everybody here on this roster, so she should be ahead of both of them. She also, during this promo, for some reason, was talking about her injury and tried to think of how long it's been since she's been injured, and she just kind of stuttered and was just back when I got injured months ago. This whole segment was just so awkward, so weird, so stupid. Why would you build up a title match for weeks? Build it up as a huge matchup, a first time ever matchup to showcase, as commentary said, Joshi Pro Wrestling can exist in NXT and NXT UK and highlight their abilities on one of the biggest stages available, and then just be like, nope, match actually isn't going to happen. Isla Dawn shows up and says that Blair's never beaten her. This prompts Sid Scala to say, all right, yo, she's right. You've never beaten her, so you both are in ring gear. Isla Dawn versus Blair Davenport, now #1 contenders match. The crowd heavily boos this segment throughout this. They do not care about this one bit. They heavily booed the match announcement at the end of this, which I also would agree. If you've been told you're getting this title match, if you sat through these tapings, I don't know when this was on the taping schedule, but yeah, like you've been told for weeks that this is what's going to happen. This is just silly. This is horrible booking. And it made everybody look like a fool here. Nobody came out of this segment looking good. It just looked and sounded very silly, very petty, very just all over the place. The match itself was pretty good. It was probably, I don't want to say it was the best match because Oliver Carter and Rohan Raja, I think, was a little bit better. It was good. It was very entertaining. The crowd got into the match more and more as the match went on. But the match just ends up being for nothing. Towards the end of this, Isla Dawn hits some sort of move off the top rope. It was like a double knees to the face. And she goes for the pin, but Blair's right underneath her feet are underneath the ropes. The ref clearly sees this. He's not stopping the count. Eliza Alexander comes out, pulls Ilya out, and this causes the ref to rule the match a no contest instead of a DQ finish. Amale gets in the ring and attacks Blair, and this just ends up in a fight, which the crowd was upset that the match ended. There's boos about it. And then it just leads to a 4-person brawl. The crowd gets into the brawl, and then it ends. This was an awful, awful ending to the show. You went from promoting a 4-on-4 women's title match to end up getting a really horrible promo segment and a match that meant absolutely nothing. This is the worst of WWE's booking policies in the past few months or past few years, all rolled into one segment. And yeah, this benefits nobody. It's bizarre to have this as your title picture now. Being Sarray gets screwed, basically, it seems. She's not getting a title shot, apparently, because Blair took her out backstage, so she loses her #1 contendership, because that makes zero sense. And instead, 2 people are going to be put into the #1 contendership picture because they stopped a match from occurring. This is just silly. This is stupid. Overall, this show gets a massive down for me. Last week, I gave it a thumbs in the middle, kind of pointing up. This week, no. Oliver Carter and Rohan Raja, good match. Weird ending. The Shaw Samuels and Bodhi Hayward match was a fine match. Weird ending. And then this ending of the show was just atrocious. The match was fine, but it gets ruined by the finish. I should say the non-finish. Do better. There's so much star power, like potential stars on this show. Looking through this roster, it's a very loaded roster. That's what got me back into this. I wanted to check it out because I like the roster. But come on. You're not even letting the best of your roster shine. Nobody in the women's division seems like a star just watching this. It's clear that they want Blair to be the star. But I don't know. Everybody is getting overshadowed here. The NXT women's title doesn't feel special. It just feels like it's a back burner, and that the bigger pictures for who is the number one contender than who's the champion. The UK Championship tournament should be fun. I'm looking forward to that, but again, it's weird that you've got Oliver Carter in this after he's complaining about having neck issues, and that medical told him to stay off of it for a few weeks, and then they're like, nah, just wrestle through it. Yeah, overall, it's a downvote. It's a no from me. You can check it out yourselves. Maybe you've got different opinions than me. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. I'll be back later with the Impact Power Hour, and I'll be back next week with another episode of the NXT UK review. Thank you guys, and talk to you next time.